Hi, this is Suzanne Williams with Essential Oils Health Matters and Living the Wholesome Life. And we are on week 14 of our Positive Peaceful Growth Affirmations. And we are following Dr. Susan Lawton's Positive Peaceful Growth Calendar that you can buy at Aroma Tools or Oil Life. And I highly suggest it. If you've been following us, you know that in this Positive Peaceful Growth Calendar that you can buy by Dr. Susan Lawton, that it pairs a positive affirmation for the week, a positive affirmation for each day, Monday through Friday, and music and essential oils. So like if you love music, essential oils, and positivity, it's an amazing book to buy. Anyway, we are on week 14, and the affirmation for this week is, I am in charge of my brain. Okay, so I just wanted to give some of my thoughts on how we are in charge of our brain. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was things that could help our brain work better, and how we are in charge of us, and we are in charge of nurturing ourselves and being the best person that we can be. So here are some tips that can help your brain work better. The first one is to get enough sleep. And that could be hard at different points in your life. If you're a young mom and you have someone waking up every 2 hours to eat, then it's going to be hard for you to get enough sleep. Sometimes people work night shifts and it kind of throws off their sleep rhythms, and it's hard for them to get enough sleep. So I just want you to think about your sleep habits. And if you wake up feeling rested, that's a big clue to see if you're getting enough sleep, is do you wake up feeling rested? And so I just wanted to for all of us to think about if we're getting enough sleep. Also, another good way to get enough sleep is to nap. Because, okay, I know that like most of the time when people think of naps, they think of toddlers, right? In like a preschool or something like that. But naps are so important. They did a study on astronauts and found that even when astronauts take just as long as a 20-minute nap, it totally improves their cognitive function. So please do what you can to get enough sleep, and anyway, I guess I can't really leave this getting enough sleep without giving you a few hints on essential oils that can help. And so lavender essential oil is world renowned for helping people get a good night's sleep. Petitgreen can be a really good oil for that too. doTERRA's Serenity Essential Oil Blend can help with that. So just some extra hints, I guess, on oils that can help with getting enough sleep. Okay, so the next thing that can help your brain is if you have enough food, right? You have to nourish your body if you want to get good results for your brain and your emotions. And your emotions are so tied up with your brain. So there's this saying that says garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you're gonna feed your body on junk food and processed food and bad stuff for it, like sodas, whatever, your brain is just really not gonna. Our brains are not, if we're going to do that to our bodies, our brains aren't going to operate as well as they can if we were really nourishing them with good food. So, you know what? I'm not going to go through a list of what foods are good for you. I think we all kind of know, we've all heard what foods are good for us. Do your own research if you want to delve more into what foods are good for you. But I'm just going to tell us all that when we nurture our bodies with good food, our mind works better. And we're in charge of our mind, which means that we're in charge of making sure our bodies get what they need to nourish themselves well. Okay, the third thing that can help in helping your brain work better and at its best is to get moderate exercise. So, and I'm just going to let you look at what you want. I know that so many of us today are, with our jobs, even our lifestyle, are very, very sedentary. So my suggestion to you is to please move, get out and move some type of exercise for at least 20 minutes a day. right? I really, really love HIIT, which is high intensity interval training. My husband is better at doing it than I am, but I do some HIIT throughout the day too. And I love to get out and connect. My favorite form of exercise is walking with my neighbors. Anyway, we have like two of my neighbors that I walk with every single day that we just have so much fun. Anyway, so the fourth thing, so please get enough exercise. Oh, and my second tip on that, besides getting at least 20 minutes of exercise a day, is maybe, 2 minutes every hour. Just do some type of calisthenic, right? Like, let's do some type of exercise to wake up our bodies and our minds. So if it's jumping jacks or squats or, whatever, some dance move, right? Whatever you're doing, get up, move your body. It's going to help your brain function better. Okay, so my fourth tip for helping our minds work better is clearing our minds, just taking the time to clear our minds. And there's lots of different ways that you can clear your mind. You can meditate, you can pray, you can make lists and get everything that you're trying to concentrate on, just write it down. Write it down, you won't forget it. Keep your list where you can find them again. And write it down so you don't feel like you are so stressed trying to keep everything in. And also sometimes we go through hard things. Sometimes we have things that we want to remember. Journaling is such an amazing way to process what's happening through it and to help keep our mind healthy. So I would definitely advise for me and for you to all be journaling every single day. My fifth tip on how to keep our minds healthier is to drink plenty of water. Okay, I know this is something I'm always saying because it's something that I always struggle with. But, I love Chinese medicine, and Chinese people believe in drinking 2 full glasses of water, first thing in the day, just waking up the system, clearing out the system. I don't know, see what it can do for you. They also suggest, experts, I guess, also suggest drinking half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you're gonna, and who weighs 100 pounds? But okay, so let's do if you weigh 140 pounds. If you weigh 140 pounds, you're gonna drink 70 ounces of water, which I know that sounds like a lot, but it is doable. And if you haven't been drinking a lot lately, start working up to it. Don't go from 2 glasses a day to 8 glasses a day or whatever. Just, okay, so today I'm going to drink 1 more glass than I did yesterday until I'm up to where I need. And maybe you need to go slower, maybe you can go faster, but see what you feel is best for your body. Sometimes it's good to make changes a little bit more slowly. Anyway, so my tip though is to drink what we need to be drinking in water. Okay, my sixth tip, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, is to learn something. And learning is fun. Isn't learning fun? There's so many different things to be curious about and to learn about, and with the internet at our fingertips, and with people, and with friends, and just communities and classes that are offered in the community, there is so much we can learn. So learn something. It's gonna make you happier about the way your brain thinks, and it's gonna keep your brain more active and vital. So definitely gonna say, try to learn something every day, and then tell that something to someone. What have you learned? Get on Facebook, share it. Get on, talk to your friends and share it. Talk to your family and share it. Share what you're learning. Share your passion. So the next thing that I want to talk about, the seventh thing. Oh, this is super good because it actually falls on 7. And I didn't do that purposely, but I love how it fell that way. So the 7th thing that I want to talk about is taking time off. So there's a saying that a bow strung tightly loses its tension, or loses. And so there's also a story that Stephen Covey talks about how there were 2 men, and they wanted to saw down a certain amount of wood, each day. And so one man just like totally the whole entire day, he just kept sighing and sighing and sighing and sighing and sighing and never took a break. He just like maybe took a break to eat lunch, but then he would go back to sighing and sighing and sighing, right? And then this other man, who also wanted to get a lot of wood sawed that day, he would saw for a while, and then he would notice, you know what, my saw isn't cutting quite as good as it used to, so he would take the time off to sharpen his saw, and then he would go back, and then cutting was so much easier. And so basically, when I'm telling you to take breaks, I'm telling you to be smart, I'm telling us all to be smart, and to sharpen our saws, to unstring our bows every once in a while so our bowstrings stay good. And so I don't know, you could pause this right now. Well, I guess if you're watching it on YouTube, you can pause it, and you can think, how can I best take breaks? So here are some that I wanted to talk about. And one is obviously the Sabbath day, which is why I'm so glad that this tip fell on number 7, because God basically said that people need the Sabbath day. Everyone needs a day of rest. So I hope that you're, taking one day in 7, probably Sunday, to rest from your labors and really not to do any work and to connect with God. Vacations is another good way to take breaks. And then I would also say, so much of us have so much to do. Like, do we ever get everything done? I know I never get everything done. I'm really doubting that you get everything done too. So what we can do is we can just keep working and working and working and working, like that guy who never took the time to sharpen his saw. We can just keep working and working and working, and then I don't know about you, but I tend to get tired then, and I tend to even get grumpy. So what I'm saying is, I know that when I take the time, like I'm trying the last 10 minutes every hour kind of that I'm working, I'm trying to take, okay, it's break time, I'm stopping right now, I'm making a note of what I need to do when I come back, and I'm just going to stop right now, and I'm going to go and do something. And usually I do switch it up with like work, like if I'm working on I don't know, family history work, then I switch it up with cleaning my kitchen. Or if I'm working with the children, then I'm going to switch it up and maybe write in my journal or something like that. So I kind of switch it from one work to another, but it's the switch. It's the switch from one activity to another that can help. And whether you switch from work to work, or whether you switch from work to exercise, or whether you switch from work to play, or work to relaxation, or work to sleep, it doesn't really matter, but it's the switch of doing something that keeps your brain fresh and your emotions, your body energized. So, just wanted to tell you to take breaks and see what type of breaks you need. If you're younger, maybe you need more breaks. If you're older, maybe you need less. And then it gets to a point that maybe if you're even older, that maybe you need more breaks. So let's be gentle and caring with ourselves and give ourselves the breaks that we really do need. Okay, so number 8 is connecting with others. And I really, really like that fell on number 8 too, because in 8 in like Jewish history kind of means more than you can do yourself. And so it usually tends to meaning that God's going to step in and help make up the difference. But 8 also is, we can't do this ourselves. We need other people, right? So as we connect with other people, don't you just love talking with your friends or playing with your friends, or connecting with your friends or your family? So my suggestion is just to take the time to connect. Like, isn't that what life is all about, right? Life is not all about work. Life is about the relationships that we build and who we become. And so take the time to connect with others. Especially at this holiday season, this is a time of connection. Okay, so my tip number 9 is to notice, to track ourselves when our brain is getting flooded. Now, getting flooded is a John Gottman term, and I don't even know I can't remember even what book it is. Maybe I'll post that in the comments. But he talks about how when we start feeling very, very strong emotions, whether maybe we're angry, maybe we're worried, maybe we're depressed, these very hard emotions can sometimes flood our brain and can disorganize our thinking, so that we're really not thinking with our rational self. We're thinking more like in panic mode or something like that. And so when we need to notice when we are starting to get flooded, so that we can do something to organize our brain. Now, as I've been studying, there's two things that can almost instantly organize your brain, that studies are showing that can almost instantly organize your brain. And one is just stopping and starting to talk about or talk to yourself about what you're thankful for. So it's just a really easy exercise. Every one of us can sit down and sit here for a minute and count our blessings, right? So that's something that you can do when your brain is getting flooded. The other thing that you can do that science shows really just organizes your brain super fast is reading. So just keep a book. Caleb, can you get me some water? Just keep a book by your bedside, right? Or maybe even 2 or 3, that when you get flooded, you can just go take a break and read for a little bit and then organize your brain a little bit more. Okay, those are 2 tips on organizing your brain when they get after you've become flooded. My 10th tip is to play some music, and not every single music is good for your brain. Like some music actually kind of makes you think less wise, and some music organizes your brain and helps you think better. And what they found is that classical music has some type of math and rhythm to it that, hold on just a minute. I should really get that water before we start, but thank you, Caleb, for doing that. Anyway, what they found is that classical music has like this math to it and this predictability to it, and I don't know, it just has these patterns to it that actually helps your brain function better. So, maybe spend a few minutes a day listening to Bach or Mozart or Beethoven or Brahms, whatever, Paganini, whatever your favorite classical musicians are. If you don't know your favorite classical musicians, like, now's the time to discover them. There are so many online that you can listen into free on YouTube or any other, Pandora, whatever. So much classical music that we can access. Like, isn't it amazing that we live in one of the best of times where we can access so much good? Okay, so my tip number 11 to keep your brain functioning well is to create something. Whether you create a gadget, like an invention, whether you create something that you've sold, or you create a beautiful atmosphere in your home, or you create a new song, you write a new poem, you write a book, maybe you create a new recipe, you try a new recipe and you create it. Like, there's just something so satisfying to our brains about the creation process. Maybe you're coloring, whatever it is that you create, be thankful that you created it and happy that you have that creative ability in you. Okay, my 12th tip is to look for the positive. And I think that's something that we all know. It just makes our brain happier, makes our brain work better. So I'm not going to spend very much time on that, but looking for the positive is always something good to do. And my 13th tip is to help someone. I think it's going to love how, I think you're going to love when you help someone. I think you're going to love the connections you meet, the friends you make, and how it helps your brain just feel peaceful and energized at the same time. Peaceful and energized at the same time. I really, really love that concept. Okay, so I wanted to talk about being gentle with our brains. Obviously not doing anything that would be addictive, like drugs or alcohol, pornography, Some people can be addicted to anger, addicted to food. Let's avoid those addictions. If we have those addictions, let's stop them. Let's get out of them. Everyone knows that addictions aren't good for you. But I wanted to talk about this concept about our brains. And that's that sometimes it's hard for us to get certain concepts. And so if you're trying to learn something and it's just not coming, I'm going to sit there and tell us all not to give up, right? Don't give up the first time you try to do something and it doesn't come easily. Don't give up the first time you try to learn something and it doesn't come easily. Don't go to the mistaken thought that you're not smart, that you're not competent. I don't want you to go there. I don't want us to go there. What I want us to do is I want us to break it down. If we can't learn algebra, let's start learning. Let's back off what we're trying to do until we come up with a concept that we do understand, and then let's move forward. Whether they have all those books that. And I don't really like the title because it's like Learning for Dummies, or not learning, but like Cooking for Dummies, or anyway, I think they have something for idiots too, which I think are horrible titles. But basically, it breaks it down, and that's what I'm saying is if you're trying to learn something, don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself learning a song on the piano that you want to learn. Don't give up on yourself learning to fix your car the way you want to fix it, or whatever you're trying to do. You can do it. Maybe you need a teacher. Maybe you just haven't found the right teacher yet. So I'm just saying, if you want to learn something, back off. Go to something similar until you've mastered that, and then come forward. And find teachers. There's tons of teachers on the internet that can help. There's tons of teachers in life that can help. If you're struggling and you need some help, ask for it. Let's give ourselves the grace when we are struggling with something to ask, to let ourselves be known and to ask for what we need. Okay, and as we're talking about like stepping down, I also wanted to talk about slowing down. So there's a scripture in Mosiah 4:27. So if you're not familiar with the book of Mosiah, it's and you love the Bible, I think that you will really love the book of Mormon. And anyway, so Mosiah is a book in the Book of Mormon, and this is the scripture that I wanted to read to you. And it says, "And see that all things are done in wisdom and order. For it is not requisite that a man or a woman should run faster than he has strength." And so, and that kind of goes along, if you're more familiar with the Bible, that kind of goes along with Ecclesiastes 3:1, where it says that there's a time and a season for everything, right? And as you're in charge of your brain and you're trying to help your brain function at its fullest, make sure that you aren't pressing yourself too hard to get too much done. God doesn't expect us to do everything. God knows that we have our limitations. Other people should know that we have our limitations, right? And so let's give ourselves some grace. And the very last thing, I don't know which number this is, but the very last thing that I wanted for us to talk about when it comes to being in charge of our brain is, I guess two things. Let's kick out the negative contract. If we made any negative contracts with others in the past, or even with ourselves in the past, where we think that we're stupid, or we're ugly, or we're incompetent, or not enough, let's just kick out those negative contracts. Let's say we're beautiful. Let's say we're smart, we're intelligent, we're wise. Let's say that we're competent, that we can learn things and learn how to be more competent. And let's say that we are enough, that what we do is enough, that our tries are enough, and that God can make up the difference. Okay, so that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. And then the very, very last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to loving your brain, being in charge of your brain, is forgiving yourself and others. Is if you've done something wrong, make amends, repent, do everything you can to fix the situation, and then forgive yourself and move on. And if someone has hurt you, do your best to make know how you're feeling, right? Give them a chance to help heal relationships. And then let it go to God. Let God be the judge on that, and then move on. So part of being in charge of our brain is forgiving ourselves. Okay, so if you've been following us, those are my tips for the day on being in charge of your brain. So if you've been following us, you know that Dr. Susan Lawton, in her book Positive Peaceful Growth Calendar, has a song that she pairs with every weekly affirmation. And her song for this affirmation is the name game, because it uses so much creativity on just kind of breaking down names in different ways. And it's good to break down things in different ways. So if that's a song that you're connecting with, wonderful, go for it, play for it. If you've never heard it, it's just a fun upbeat song. I'm going to try to come up with some song that I'm resonating with a little bit more when it comes to being in charge of our brains. Okay, so you all know that we always have an affirmation for the week and an affirmation for the day. And the affirmation for the day is I am the only one thinking in my head. Now, I had to think about that. I'm the only one thinking in my head. I had to think about that for a while. Like, what do I believe about that? And what do I want to talk about that? So this is kind of what I want to tell all of us. And that's that we do think our own thoughts, and we do think many of our own thoughts. I don't think that every single thought that occurs to us comes from our own making. I think that sometimes, and definitely advertisers don't think that every thought that we think of occurs from our own making, right? So before you go to the movies, what do they play? They always play those ads for like the popcorn and the soda and the candy, right? Why do they play those ads? Because they want to get a thought into your brain that movie popcorn is going to be so good, or that soda or that candy, and that's what you want. They're trying to place thoughts in your mind. And so that's what advertisers and so much of media is doing. They're trying to get different thoughts in your mind, and some of them are great and wonderful and then will help you, and some of them are unnecessary and they don't serve you well at all. And okay, so that's one source of thoughts that come into your mind that you don't really put there, right? That other people are trying to get into our minds. Then I also think that there's two other forces that are putting thoughts into our minds, and they don't generate with us. And one of them is the adversary. I feel like that there is a devil, that there is a Satan, kind of, and his followers that tempt us and try us. Like, we know that Christ himself was tempted. He never gave in to temptation, right? He was perfect. He never gave in to temptation. But the scriptures do say that he was tempted. And those thoughts didn't originate with him. And so some of the thoughts that we think don't originate with us. And I think it's good for us to acknowledge that and know that. Do we have a choice on what we do? Absolutely. We have absolute choice on whether we choose something good to do or something bad to do, whether we choose to tell the truth or we choose to tell a lie. But just because you're tempted to lie does not mean that the temptation came from you. Okay, and the other force that I feel like is working on us is heaven and God and Christ and his angels, who I do feel like too are whispering in our ear, and trying to inspire us to move in ways that will make us happy and do things that will make us happy, lead us on the path to happiness. And so I really, really tried today to find this old cartoon. It's the Flintstones, where Fred Flintstone is, he has like two, a shoulder angel and a devil angel, he's in the situation, and the shoulder angel is telling him something and the devil angel is telling him something else. Anyway, I found some other kind of cute clips on shoulder angels and devil angels. Anyway, but what I wanted us to all know and to acknowledge is that not every thought that we have originates with ourselves, right? And so we're not the only ones thinking inside our head, but even though we're not, the only ones who are putting thoughts into our head. We do have the choice of what we want to do with the thoughts that do come into our head. And so I think that's the important thing to focus on. The important thing to focus on is that we have choice on what we do with the thoughts that come into our head. Okay, so the affirmation for today, I'm going to switch up. You're not the only one putting thoughts we're not the only ones putting thoughts in our heads, but we do have the choice on what we do with them. That's going to be my affirmation for today. And then we always know that Dr. Susan Lawton gives us a diffuser blend to diffuse for the whole week, and it's Monday, so it's the day that we introduce the diffuser blend. And so the diffuser blend is frankincense, which I am so excited for on a number of reasons. One is the oil of truth, which I love, because if you want to keep your brain working at its best, we all got to tell the truth, right? When we tell lies, it just totally disorganizes our brain. So let's not tell lies, just let's tell the truth and let's keep our brain working at its best. Besides that, frankincense being the oil of the truth, frankincense is an amazing oil for cognitive function. Like, it is amazing for memory. It's so good for your mind. If you want to do some studies on how frankincense is good for your mind, go to aromaticscience.com. It's one of my favorite sites because it has studies from all over the world. Anyway, we'll be talking more about what frankincense can do for us emotionally on Tuesday, and on Friday of this week, we will be talking about what frankincense does for us physically. So you're going to definitely want to tune into both of those days. Okay, and then marjoram. So marjoram is the oil of connection. And remember how we talked about how connecting with others can keep our brain functioning well, right? And so I think you're going to love adding. The third oil that's going to be in our diffuser blend this week is lemon, which is the oil of focus. And you're going to love that too. We are definitely going to be putting some of our favorite clips into the comments, so be sure to check those out. So what you're diffusing this week is what we're diffusing this week is 2 drops of frankincense, 2 drops of marjoram. Okay, so 2 drops of frankincense, which is the oil of truth, 2 drops of marjoram, which is the oil of connection, and just telling the truth helps you have better connections with everyone. And then 2 drops of lemon, which is the oil of focus. Put that in your diffuser, turn it on. You're going to love, love, love the way it smells. Okay, so that's what we're diffusing this week. Oh, really quick, in being in charge of your brain, why do we want, so what's the purpose of being in charge of our brain and helping our brain function at its best? Well, it's so that you can perform whatever mission God has for you. You can perform your goals. You can reach your goals. You can love the people in your life better when your brain is working better. So just wanted to say that before I ended. This is Suzanne Williams with Essential Oils, Health Matters, and Living the Wholesome Life, telling you that I know that you are in charge of your brain. You can totally choose the things that you think about. You can decide what to do with the things that you think. And I know you have it in you to make it a great day. Okay, have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.